Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is One of One, but you can call me Seven. And in the last episode of Witch on the Holy Night, Aoko managed to unlock the fifth magic. It revealed itself, or the fifth magician revealed herself? I can't remember what the exact wording was, but the long and short of it is that she has unlocked the power that has been passed down to her. She's managed to overcome the obstacle that was barring her from accessing it and reaching the root of magic and magecraft. No, those might be two separate things, all this time. And I guess the impetus for that was Sojiro. Just as a person, the things that he did, his actions, and what happened to him. So when that happened, it seems that the Aozaki form of true magic is some control over time. I have so many questions, and I don't know the specifics of things, but I do know that she has brought herself forward in time, because she's now a much more experienced mage, and somehow drawn the slider back on Alice and Shizuki. I don't know what this means for everybody's memories. I don't know what this means for the landscape, but it is something truly, truly powerful. And now, we're gonna see things from Sojiro's perspective, so let's hop back into it. Huh? His eyelids snapped open. At last, Sojiro awoke from his long slumber. Lying on his back, he gazed up at the stars. The trees around him created a porthole into space. And despite seeing all this for the first time, he felt an uncomfortable sense of deja vu. So many questions. What happened before he fell asleep? Why had he been sleeping? Everything was just so hazy. It was like he had walked out the door one minute and woken up in bed the next. With so many thoughts clouding his mind, he could barely recall his own name. All he could remember was a girl he... Oh no! This might be so tragic. This might be truly awful. All he could remember was a girl he'd never seen before and something thin around his neck. Alice? The voice, quiet but clear, belonged to the girl named Alice Konji, who was at his side. Oh yeah, he sat up, mumbling incoherently. The black-clad girl knelt next to him. Flowers, he said, paying no mind to Alice. Under the blue moonlight, spring flowers swayed, surrounded by dead trees and snow. Against the curtain of night, white petals danced in the breeze, like butterflies. Staring long and hard at the spectacle, Sojiro suddenly raised his fingers to his neck. He moved carefully, like he was touching a wound. Then gradually he began squeezing, harder. The voice of the girl beside him brought him back to reality. Leaving so soon? You just came back. She sounded both sad and reproachful, but Sojiro did not understand why. Seeing the uncharacteristic concern in her eyes snapped him to his senses. Leaving? Where would I go? His fingers fell away from his neck. Without answering, she blankly looked to the sky, though there was only the infinite darkness of space. Well, whatever. What was I doing again? My head feels strange, like it's full of cobwebs. Sojiro tilted his head in confusion. Alice observed him motionlessly. This bewildered boy was a far cry from the one that made short work of a werewolf. Then again, this was Sojiro. As she stared at him, she realized she did not have an answer he could understand. So she tried asking a question, the same question she had asked him repeatedly as he slept, but eventually gave up expecting a response to. Tell me, do you remember what you were doing, Shizuki? Her quiet question was spoken like an enthralling spell of magecraft. Said spell seemed to work, and Sojiro sank into a sea of memories. Atop the bright white hill, they quietly sat for a while. Like siblings. I remember hearing someone's voice. I think they were asking me something, but I couldn't respond at all. Though consumed by the darkness of death, he could still vaguely recall the girl's question. He was not aware that he had died, but it seemed a fragment of time remained from when he had been with her. Sojiro's expression darkened, filled with regret. Looking at his profile, Alice pressed him further. And did you find what you were looking for? Remembering that someone had asked him questions, he gave a slight nod. Yeah. I I did. But I honestly didn't think I would, Alice. Okay. This whole time, I didn't think I would. The regret in his voice was accompanied by a hint of strength. Lowering his gaze, Sojiro saw a white flower garden that looked like something from the afterlife. It shone brightly, captivating him. I remember now. I think I got cut in half in front of Alko. But then why am I alive? Sojiro said, prodding his body curiously. His arms were their old selves again, but what of Alko? He turned toward Alice for an answer, who was sat among the flowers looking sullen. You were rewound, Shizuki. This place is from your memories, don't you remember? Alice seemed to be speaking in riddles. My memories? That's weird. I'm drawing a blank. Right now, your time is being used by Alko. Until that time is returned, you won't be able to remember. What? Right now, your time is being used by Alko. Until that time is returned to you, you won't be able to remember. Okay. She answered ominously as she cast her gaze over the flower garden. A shame all this won't stay. Once your time's returned, I'll be the only one who remembers. Looking at the white blossom, she smiled. Oh, what? Because this isn't the Alice. Sorry. The Alko that went to chase after Toko isn't the Alko of today, but the one of the future. And so when she comes back, regular Alko will be there and she won't remember all of this. Alice will be the only one who will remember, and when his time is returned, Sojiro won't remember either. But will he still be cut in half? Is this only momentary? Or rather a temporary solution? Her words only confused him further. I mean, they're confusing to me too, dude. You're not gonna tell me, he said dejectedly, what emotions lay inside those deep eyes. It's pointless having me tell you what you want to hear anyway, if it's not too bothersome. When she spoke, aww. When she spoke in as caring a tone as she was capable of. The long and short of it is, you died. Then you came back to life. After you were killed by Toko, Alko rewound the 5 minutes before you opened your eyes. Meanwhile, she used roughly 10 years of your time. Neither of you changed physically, so she must have borrowed time from you mentally. That's why right now, this beautiful scenery would only bring back memories for Alko in possession of your time. So she rewound, used 10 years of your time mentally. And once the time exchange was over, neither Alko nor Sojiro would remember what happened during these moments. When Alko used someone else to channel her true magic, it did not affect her alone. Okay, this is huge. This is a massive thing to explain and for me to know. She used Sojiro, and that was that was the implication a little bit when she was using her magic in the last episode, but I couldn't be sure because so much was happening at once, but she did use Sojiro to channel her true magic. If she had rewound time for only herself, the temporal inconsistencies would form part of her own experience. However, this was proper time travel. The inconsistencies would be corrected. When the magic ended, both Alko's memories of this place and Sojiro's unfamiliarity with it would be corrected. This miracle would become unrealized. Only the observers would remember this brilliant white sea of flowers. Alice and Toko. She borrowed my time? Sojiro asked, his head tilting even further at Alice's general explanation. She recalled how Alko said that if you gave Sojiro a roundabout answer, he would stop asking questions, even if he did not comprehend it. There was no way to resurrect you, so instead Alko attempted to circumvent your death completely. Perhaps because she was unable, or because she was hesitant, she avoided any large-scale manipulation and settled for a smaller exchange between the two of you. Interesting. That means you've effectively jumped through time by 5 minutes. Even if someone from the distant future was able to look through time, they couldn't find you in those 5 minutes because you don't exist in regular time anymore. Simultaneously, Alko borrowed your time to advance her own. More than likely, time from your childhood. From what I understand, individual time manipulation is easier when using forgotten memories. Shizuki? Should I slow down? Alice asked with her eyes. All Sojiro could do was nod. So, Alko used two miracles. She rewound your body and fast-forwarded her own. When going into your time, she borrowed 10 years of yours to bring her future self closer. Okay? Help me visualize this, folks, alright? Say it and, follow along with the whiteboard at home. When going into your time, she borrowed 10 years of yours to bring her future self closer. Therefore, the one trying to kill Toko right now is actually an Aoko Aozaki with 27 years of experience. Okay, I understand, even though Sojiro doesn't. Aoko's going to kill Toko? If she hasn't already, yes. As soon as Alice answered, Sojiro sped off, kicking up white petals behind him as he ran. The brave boy who defeated a werewolf was back. Alice watched him go. On a snowy night, the same boy ran down Shido Inuzuka Hill for her too. Sojiro entered the old school building. Lights flashed and the sounds of destruction exploded around him, threatening to turn the area into a burial ground. Still, he remained focused. See, Aoko? Sorry, but I knew this would happen. Her words only reached the white flowers around her. Aoko knew Sojiro too well, so she wanted Alice to stop him. If he tried to interfere in the battle against Toko, she could not protect him this time. But it was too late to celebrate Aoko's judgment now. The girl in black had no intention of going after him. She simply sat for a while, gazing forlornly at the transient flower garden. Oh dear. Alright, fellas. It feels like we're entering the end game here. So... Okay, hey Aoko. Hey girly pop, how's it going? A storm of magic bullets struck down a hail of lightning blades. A mage's workshop was their home base and last line of defense. It featured an abundance of defensive spells designed to cut down brazen challengers and thieves. The old school building was no exception, painstakingly rigged by the puppet master and rune mage Toko Aozaki. A reflection of her bizarre obsessions, the workshop was set to indiscriminately destroy any intruders. Stay still for one damn second, you freak! Toko complained as she ran down the hallway, activating her traps along the way, but nothing seemed to work. Look at this baller! Look at this absolute Chad. None of the runes, regardless of their quality or quantity, could slow her sister down. Reaction speed and ability to predict attacks could only be described as transcendent. Even magic bullets she fired from both her arms were too much, destroying the runes in the very walls that housed them. Holy shit. She's sick. She's so cool. Is this all your newfound maturity has got you? The ability to smash things like a child? Ping, ping, ping. More runes. As she spat out her words, the ceiling opened, increasing the pressure from the runes. Invisible walls popped up in the hallway. Aoko stopped and swung her right leg upward. What? Whee! She doesn't give a shit. Damn. Straight toward this. Here's the thing. It might be destruction, but it definitely is controlled and way more focused than before. Her foot cut through the thick air like a knife through butter, shattering the ceiling and the rooms along with it. You're one to talk, always going overboard. Don't you ever get fed up of creating runes? You're not trying to build a space fortress. This building holds precious memories for people, so show some damn respect, damn it. They're just sisters fighting. This is just a quarrel. This is just a sibling quarrel. That's what's going on right now. The wooden boards along the hallway that had withstood decades of wind and snow were now destroyed. Oh, that's ironic. Aoko charged forward. The chaos was inevitable. While Toko's runes cursed living creatures, Aoko's magic bullets destroyed all without prejudice. You don't have an elegant bone in your body to think you're my sister. Toko would do anything to change her blood, but there were more pressing matters at hand. The girl rushing her now was not the sister she remembered, but rather a more complete version of her. Toko couldn't afford to let her guard down for a second, but... This is supposed to be magic? Don't make me laugh. Localized time travel. Toko didn't believe that was the true nature of the Aozaki's magic. Aoko's transformation had to be a mere byproduct of true magic. She couldn't make heads or tails out of its depths, even with Aoko having achieved it. At the very least, it was not so simple a miracle. After all, the concept of time travel was already made possible through the second magic. Right, this is the fifth. Got it. Record manipulation, revision of possibilities, and so forth involved the operation of parallel worlds. So there was no way that could be the fifth magic. Which brings me to my next question. Where the hell did you get those 10 years from? Good question. Pew! Oh, she's splitting herself? From that board outside, oh, my voice cracked, oh my god. From that board outside, got a problem? I'm going to give his time back after, so don't you dare judge me. That made sense. There was a bias, but the amount of time on this axis had not been changed. But, so what are you going to do with those 5 minutes? Finish me, then return him to his former state. Is that your plan? Aoko stopped in her tracks. Toko had taken aim at Aoko's glaring oversight. Aozaki magic and Aoko's humanity were inconsistent. You can't revive someone by manipulating time. All you've done is console yourself for a moment. The magic crest on Toko's back began to demonstrate their true worth. Drawing upon the magical energy stored in the crest, she materialized her largest trap yet in the hallway. Oh, she doesn't care. Well, maybe she does care. She did look a little surprised. Or maybe you committed an even greater sin. What did you do? 3 rune stones appeared. Their scale and level of magical energy were wildly different from the other runes created by Toko herself at the Mages Association. They were replicas of one of the lost primordial runes created by a Nordic giant. The 3 thin crystalline lenses amplified her carved runes tens of millions of times. They rendered projectiles like magic bullets ineffective. Even if Aoko's magical output far exceeded Toko's, these giant slabs were several times more powerful still. Aoko's signature magecraft could only release magical energy, so she had no way to defend or evade the attack. Whee! Oh my god. Shizuki, are you gonna get down, Mr. President, her? Oh my. A fixed subjective axis, or main set. Pushing herself on, Aoko took a deep breath of resolve. Instead of defending or dodging, she went low and charged into the rune storm. Oh my. Aoko? Huh? You don't even exist within this time axis, do you? Infuriated by the realization, Toko set her magic crest to full power. Though through repeated second-long outbursts of time travel, Aoko was able to avoid the rune's Okay. I'm gonna need a full-blown explanation after this, guys. It's better than last episode, but she was either sending the attack's impact to a different time or layering several thousands of herself atop one another. Whatever. No way she could keep up that kind of magical energy output. 1 down, Aoko kicked the crystal slab to pieces. 2 remain, distance 30 feet. Toko had 10 seconds of magical energy left, but that was all she needed. Aoko, on the other hand, would stop now if she had any common sense as a mage. She couldn't continue breaking the rules for much longer. Then again, time travel itself was breaking the rules. Is she doing it? Oh dear god. Once again, Aoko used the same technique. Toko's suspicion turned into white-hot hatred. She couldn't care less about her time travel formula. It was the amount of magical energy she had. Where was she pulling the energy necessary to jump through time for so long? Wait, I knew it. It was the death of Sojiro Shizuki. If she had brought him back 5 minutes to when he was still alive, where would those 5 minutes go? Aoko's magic wasn't using parallel worlds to change this one. She had only rewound Sojiro's 5 minutes, then logically he'd return to being a corpse as soon as the magic ended. Time travel that didn't change the world couldn't change the past. Therefore, if she wanted to save him, she had to either truly resurrect him, or send those 5 minutes of reality somewhere far away without returning them. 2 down. Aoko showed no sign of slowing. From behind her crystal barrier, Toko glared at Aoko with disdain. Answer me, Aoko! What did you do with this time? How are you going to balance all that heat? How the hell should I know? I tossed the time somewhere to the distance. Oh my god, Aoko! That's so... I mean, look, I get it. I know why you did what you did. I know you were feeling a lot of things. Or no things at all, and you just wanted to save him. But that's really irresponsible. What? 15 feet to go. Faced with such madness, Toko wanted to cover her eyes. Yeah, because we thought Toko was the mad one, but like sister, I guess, right? Same blood. She put the debt of the present in the distant future? Oh, that is a sick line. A time paradox would have been more humane. Such an enormous haphazard consumption of heat could not be allowed. Yeah, because there's no equal opposite reaction, right? There's no, well, I mean, I guess this isn't like thermodynamics. It's not like there are laws that govern this type of thing, but like, I feel like what she's done is she's tossed it somewhere into the distant future. And so at some point in the distant future, especially if like he's, you know, still around Alice and Aoko, he's just gonna fall over in half and die. But maybe they have all that time to solve this? Fix it? I don't know. Guys, this feels crazy. After all, time travel alone required a massive amount of energy. Magical energy was required to bring things from somewhere else. At the same time, losing something that exists here consumed an incredible amount of energy. And what about the magical energy used for cooling? If either fell out of equilibrium, it would mean total chaos. The distortion caused by your magic would come to affect this entire sector of space. Oh yes, just essentially being so irresponsible. How the hell can you be so dumb? You're going to pile that debt onto the dead end that humanity will reach? You're going to lay it at the feet of the heat death of the universe? That's like hanging a world-ending meteor over the head of this planet. Or are you planning on crushing the earth under your own weight? That last comment made Aoko's eyes widen. Her every step exerted such force it broke the floorboards beneath her feet. I'll worry about that later. Next time I'll put the dent in the past. That better? Then only the past will be crushed by the distortion. That's your master plan? Save the present by destroying the past? That saves us, but what about the heat problem and the burden on the rest of the universe? Exactly. Even if the universe were closed, or the present were still expanding, the absurd increase in heat consumption would become uncontrollable. That which waits for the end of infinite expansion, infinite consumption, and infinite growth is a future without hope. Okay, I'm trying to follow. The nothingness before creation. Eventually, the universe would burn up. Miyazaki's magic only makes that conclusion more certain, and that's on you. I mean, yeah, she does know that already. I'll figure it out. As long as I live, I'll figure something out. And you know what? I believe her. I believe she will figure something out. 5 feet to go, the rune blast, now carrying all of Toko's hatred, focused into a scorching hot laser beam. Her body being torn into by the intense heat and her emotions raging, Aoko drove her foot into the ground. You'll take responsibility, will you? How exactly? I said I'd figure it out, didn't I? Starting now! You make me sick, she says. Last one shattered. Oh my god! Toko's last defense was shattered. Holy shit. Close enough to connect, the two mages unleashed their magecraft, red runes, blue ether, and a cascade of magic bullets. Tokozaki's crest were torn to pieces, and so was Toko herself. Oh. It was just as Alice said. By the time Sojiro arrived, it was already over. The old school building's wooden boards had survived the elements for decades, but they were not ready for a mage duel. The entrance door hung off its hinges, the floorboards groaned, the stairs were ready to collapse underfoot. Toko's escape and Aoko's pursuit had left a trail of destruction leading all the way to the second floor. The chaos continued to the end of the hallway. Oops! The chaos continued to the end of the hallway by the stairs to the third floor. Toko sat in a heap, with her back against the wall. Despite her injuries, she kept her eyes firmly on Aoko. Oh dear. She was bleeding internally and had multiple broken bones. She would not be moving anytime soon. Possibly damaged by Aoko's flying kick, her mystic eyes had ruptured from within, closing them indefinitely. Despite her battered and broken body, she was still breathing steadily, a testament to her stubbornness. Before her stood Aoko, staring down at her, uninjured. Thought I could make it to the roof. Toko was not trying to be facetious. She sounded genuinely disappointed. Aoko responded with a cold glare. Her azure eyes had not changed one bit. They were callous as ever, yet undeniably beautiful. From where she stood, Aoko held her hand out toward Toko. Like a hunter, about to put a wounded prey out of its misery. The victor was decided. The mage came to steal land and got a death sentence for her trouble. The silence was disquieting. Moonlight peered through the demolished ceiling, illuminating the two sisters with its stare. The utterly mad sibling squabble was over. Now the fireworks were finished and the cold wind had returned to claim the old school building. Any last words? Aoko's voice cut through the silence. Toko thought for a moment, before lightly patting her coat pocket. Nothing. She frowned. I thought I'd have one last smoke, but looks like I burned through them all while waiting for you. They're bad for me anyway. Japanese cigarettes taste too good. Aoko gave a small nod. Not exactly the last words I was expecting. Wait. Okay, fine. Tough crowd. I'll give you what you want, the meaningless final cry of a loser. Toko's voice was laden with sarcasm, but not hostility or hatred. Perhaps her vendetta was not directed at Aoko herself, but rather a product of two sisters born into a mage family. I never thought the Aozaki magic would be time travel. Some kinks obviously need ironing out, but that's not really for me to say. But I know anyway. Just take it seriously, and you'll be fine. The fact you took 10 years to figure it out doesn't give me confidence, though. I expected more of Alice. Alice helped in her own way. She doesn't think I'll ever make a real mage, though. Can't say I disagree. That wolf would have made for an interesting match. No, he's useless now he's tasted defeat. Before you wielded magic, perhaps, but he's lost himself now. Tell me something, Aoko. Your magic, is it cause? Or is it effect? Toko wanted to know if it came before or came after. Did Aoko need magic to get her where she needed to go? Or did she obtain magic as a result of reaching that place? What a fascinating question. I could not even begin to tell you what implications the answers, or like what implications which one it is have for this world. But it is interesting nonetheless. Effect. I turned tail when I got to the door, so I never found out what that old man was thinking. And it was the same process as the first magic, even more sinful. I heard the second through the fourth were created to reach that place. If opposites attract, I guess similars repulse. Better hope the first doesn't bite back. We reached the door then. Which tells me magic inheritance is similar to path inheritance. So Ymir's entrance was here all along. That's the Scandinavian name. I call it the Gate of Akasha? And what you're after the whole time, correct? Toko used every ounce of her strength she could find to nod. And it was going to be mine, but I couldn't wait generations. That's where grandfather and I parted ways. From then on, I had better things to do than chase revenge. Well, it's over now. No use talking about it anymore. There's just one last thing left to ask. What was it like touching the root? Toko spoke after taking a deep breath. Her last words showed no trace of hatred. Aoko remained silent as she began raising her right hand up high. She recalled her grandfather's orders, the source of true magic. Revealing one's knowledge or impressions of the root was strictly forbidden. But this was her sister's dying wish. Maybe it would be okay? The conversation would end the moment she brought her arm down. Then this rotting shell of a building would become her sibling's tomb. What harm could it do? And it's not like she planned to follow her grandfather's rules anyway. I have a confession to make. Ako's voice carried through the blue hallway. To be honest, I don't remember anything. Aoko gave a blunt reply and brought her arm down like a bolt of lightning. Or at least she tried to. Her arm wouldn't listen to her. It wouldn't budge. What are you doing? Cursing Alice, Aoko spat her question out with venom. Sojiro materialized from behind, taking hold of her raised arm. Though unable to express it, Toko was shocked to see him too. Let go. Without looking at him, or even at her restrained hand, Aoko spoke sternly, her eyes forward. Come to think of it, at the amusement park, he appeared out of nowhere to protect her from that puppet. Are you deaf? I won't say it again. She was not bluffing. If he interfered, even he would be given no mercy. I've decided to let you live. It would go against that promise, but he should know better. Even so, he maintained his grip on her arm. Do as you're... As Aoko turned around, the word told caught in her throat. She immediately regretted looking at him. She saw herself in his expression. Mournful sadness, judgmental anger. His conflicting emotions spoke to her of her own internal struggle. Voicelessly, quietly, without volition. Rustic gray eyes, questioning a deep sin. If you've got something to say, then spit it out. Otherwise, get out of my face. Sojiro gently released Aoko's arm as she maintained her resolve. They locked eyes, neither friend nor foe. Their bitterness clashed without words. And then suddenly, murder is wrong. Sojiro stated in that matter-of-fact way of his with which Aoko had become all too familiar. His words were empty, trite even, and yet given her current state, they reached her. Although she would soon forget the fragments of Sojiro's memories, they made her painfully aware of how he felt. Still, she could not agree with him. It would come back to bite her. If she let Toko go now, her sister would come for her again. She had already made 2 attempts on her life. Aoko did not have it in her to forgive her sister for what she had done. Above all, just as Toko said, if Aoko did not change, she would be a novice forever. She'd not even won her first mage battle yet, and she knew putting down a blood relative would require even more conviction. Nevertheless, his words echoed over and over again in her heart. Murder's wrong, such a childish phrase. But the earnestness with which he said it, it was enough to make her sick. Resisting, Aoko glowered at Sojiro. So what? She just killed you. You're going to protect her? You're going to let her go so she can come back and kill you again when she's recovered? No, I don't have it in me to be a saint. But he would probably still let her go. He did not think that Toko would change. He also did not care to rationalize her actions based on her life. He was simply thankful. Thankful that this person before him was still alive. You seem pretty damn saintly to me. That was what had made Aoko so angry. His overwhelming innocence and self-righteousness enraged her like the Hall of Mirrors was happening all over again. The only difference was now she knew why he was acting like this. It was because she had taken a part of him. He took a step forward, passing by her, saying words he knew he should not. If it's revenge we're talking about, it seems logical that the guy who was murdered should be the one to do it. I know I can't stop you, so I may as well do it, Aozaki. It was difficult to discern who was the more pathetic in all of this. Toko, who had been staring at them the whole time, closed her other eye as if drifting off to sleep. I'm sorry, Miss Toko. Knowing her fate, Toko dropped her head as best she could as he walked towards her. You know, it's better if you're the one to do it. Things are crazy right now. I can't imagine how much regret you'll feel after this all calms down. But you'll be out of purgatory. You can shake off your old self and move on. The only thing I regret is it wasn't me who made you like this. She knew that Sojiro could not understand. Her words hanging in the air, she closed her lips tightly, then weakly stuck out her slender neck. Sojiro took another step forward. Oh! Before he could do anything, Aoko moved. Spinning in front of Sojiro, she cut off her magical energy and swung her hand as hard as she could. The sound of her slapping his face, a classic, echoed through the hall, along with his staggering steps. Nice, buddy. Way to go. Oh? You coward, she says. This is the main theme. Tears of anger welling in her eyes, Aoko turned her back to Sojiro, sulking as though she would kill him as soon as she looked at him again. That's what you get for taking another person's memories. You must have gotten inside your head, Aoko. Yeah, I had no idea it sucks so much to have your own will influenced by someone else. That was about all Aoko could mutter in response. The corners of Toko's lips curled into a grin. What's so funny? Nothing. It's just, I didn't think you were capable of normal human compassion. Being scared of taking on other people's burdens for 10 whole years. You're not stupid, you're adorable. Aww. Now listen here. Don't glare at me like that. I meant what I said. So what's going to happen to me? Are you going to let him kill me or let me go? It's not like I have a choice. Like you said, this is my reward. Aoko said begrudgingly, shooting Sojiro a sideways glance. He seemed to have recovered from the slap, and his usual absent-minded look had returned. He may have had no memories of his past, but his morals and values were too deep to be erased. Sojiro was trying to violate those. It would eat away at him forever, and he would be doing it not for himself, but for Aoko. Aoko understood this all too well now. The moment he said he would do it was the moment he lost. Not stopping him would be no different than watching him die. And she would lose something important inside her. Aoko did not want that to happen. Don't tell me you're one of those people who has to enact revenge on their own terms. Aoko ignored Sojiro, who seemed to have gotten the wrong idea. Instead, she directed her scowl at Toko, who still lay collapsed in front of her. Fine. I'll let you live this time, Toko. But don't think you can just come and go as you please. Toko scowled at her little sister, standing smugly over her. If you're planning on handing me over to grandfather, you may as well kill me now. Yeah, right. I don't want to see him either. You're going to leave this place, though. I won't get in your way or send word to the association. I'll be reporting what happened to Ritsuka myself. This'll be our secret. Toko's brow creased further. There had to be a catch. What are you scheming? Nothing. Just thinking about which spell to use on you. But I won't use Gander. No, you've tasted that one enough already. Yes, the curse I have in mind is a little stronger. If you ever show your face around here again, you'll turn into a frog. Smiling as if they had just arranged to eat Chinese food tomorrow night, Aoko walked toward Toko. Wait, who taught you to do something like that? My mentor was Alice, of course. She always was an odd duck, wouldn't you agree? The elder Alzaki sister's brow knitted so hard it could have produced a sweater. Perhaps this is why her sister would stay a novice forever. Get out of here. Unless you're a creepy pervert, then go ahead and watch. I don't care. As she spoke, she began... Hold on, wait, I don't think this is necessary. Game? What is happening? Does Aoko have the same thing as her sister where she likes to, I don't know. Guys, I don't know if this is necessary. The uncomfortable look in Toko's eyes compared to the strangely cheerful one in Aoko's caused Sojiro to hesitate. Was it really okay to leave the two of them alone? Eventually, he nodded. This was just a weird game between sisters. Best not to be a pervert. And then he got out of there. Damn, that's crazy. Best not to be a pervert. Better get out of there. Damn. What kind of dumbass formula is that? Are we really related? You took all the artistic genes for yourself without thinking about your poor little sister. If you want to blame anyone, blame yourself. Cries of sadness, joy, and anguish rang out down the dilapidated hall. Fellas, there we go. Holy shit. What a time. Okay. So we've got all the petals floating off into the night. Soon, not a single flower would remain, and the clearing would return to a snowy tundra. The magic had ended. In a matter of minutes, the past would return to its rightful place, along with it the time shared between the boy and the girl. The old school building was still. Alice embraced the silence and patiently waited. After a while, Sojiro emerged from the building and Alice released a puff of white breath. A small sigh of relief. It was over. Sojiro approached, carrying Aoko, cradling her in his arms. Oh, I see. They've already reverted. Was she asleep? Her eyes were closed and she seemed peaceful. Her hair and limp body dangled like a silk drape. She looked just like Sleeping Beauty. So you decided to wait for us, Alice, he said, holding Aoko with little effort. Alice nodded. What happened to Toko? To be honest, I don't really know, but she's gone. Alzaki said she placed a really strong curse on her so she wouldn't come back to Misaki for 10 years. After that, she stood and watched Toko run away until she was out of sight, then she collapsed. Alice's response was brief, as if she was wondering if things were really so simple. She seemed more concerned about Toko than Aoko, which made Sojiro concerned about Alice and Aoko's relationship more than anything. Anyway, what's going on with her? Looks like the variables are still balancing out. Since her time diverged from our current time, she likely won't open her eyes until all the gears line up again. Sojiro nodded in understanding, very clearly still not comprehending a word Alice had just said. It's a bit of an anti-climax. I can't tell if Aozaki or Miss Toko won. Right. Mage battles aren't always cut and dry. It's not always just about who is more powerful. If Toko's objective was to discover the Aozaki's true magic, then Aoko lost the moment she used it. Everything that happened after was merely the triumphant winner being accosted by the loser, Alice said as she turned her sights to the forest. Even Sojiro could tell that was Alice's way of saying, let's go home. They'll both catch a cold. Cursed Miss Toko, she did something else. Sojiro trailed off, hoping Alice would tell him what it was, but a stony and somewhat affected gaze was her response. Does she know? I think she knows. Did you watch, Shizuki? No, Aozaki told me to get out. Good. Did she say what curse she placed on her? Something about turning her into a frog. Sojiro's explanation made Alice's expression darken. Aoko was still a long way from learning any sort of polymorph spells. Her thoughts prevented her from finishing the sentence. In actuality, it was perfectly within Aoko's abilities, considering where she was in time at that moment. As Aoko had said, Toko would not be able to dispel the curse for 10 years. And the Aoko of this time had not the ability to use such a curse, which meant Toko did not have anyone to rebound the curse to. No matter how much she researched dispelling powerful curses, she could not do it with the Aoko of this timeline. Aoko only cut Toko a little bit. It's nothing for you to worry about. I expected her to do something much worse. And after her slightly unsettling remark, Alice quietly began to walk. Sojiro followed, Aoko in his arms. Together, they left the clearing and moved into the forest, and as they did, Sojiro abruptly froze. He looked back toward the old school building's field with a strange expression. Does he remember now? Or is he about to remember? Is he on the verge of remembering? Was it homesickness he felt? Though this was only his second time seeing it, he had a nostalgic feeling like he would never be back. He looked like a child saying goodbye to an old toy that was to be thrown away. Seeing his expression, Alice felt a hint of sympathy and chided herself. Something on your mind? She asked him, watching the flowery garden fade into a snowy field. Sojiro shook his head. Not really. It's just, I feel like I know that place. It's weird, right? I didn't feel that way when I got here. He stood staring at the tundra for what seemed like an eternity, reluctant to leave. If she left him there, he would still be gazing at it by morning, probably even longer, but there was no point in doing that. In the end, Alice was the only one who would remember the beautiful scenery he yearned for. Does it really look that familiar? Not at all. Not one bit of it. Then it's just your imagination. Sojiro nodded at Alice's harsh conclusion. He smiled slightly, deciding it was pointless to want something that did not exist. Yeah. Maybe I saw it in a dream. A dream where I was happy. Severing the ties that bound him, Sojiro turned his back away from the snowy clearing, away from the unfamiliar yet familiar place where he had known happiness. Let's get back. I'm tired and Aozaki's heavy. How about we have a warm cup of tea once we're back at the mansion, Alice? Sojiro spoke her name with a smile. Her heart skipped a beat. Oh boy. My fella is gonna be doing numbers on these girls for real. Since when did he start saying her name so casually like that? Somehow she managed to nod before beginning to walk again. As he moved away from her, she asked a small question to his back. Is she heavier than me? Referring to what? The bike? When he was carrying her on the bike? Aoko was a bit taller than Alice, so naturally she would weigh more, but Alice wanted to hear him say it anyway. Not one to disappoint, Sojiro answered without missing a beat. Definitely, by about 20 pounds. You do realize if Aoko knew you'd said that, she'd kill you. Judging by Alice's tone, she was probably going to tell Aoko later. You're kind of mean, Alice. You know, I did round down too, just to be Brother! His attempts at being kind had likely drawn him closer to his deathbed. No good, huh? He asked nervously. Alice could not help but crack a smile at his innocence. However, she was not used to smiling in front of others, so she turned away and walked into the woods. From Sojiro's perspective, she was storming off in a mood. She must really care if she's mad at me for saying that about you, right, Aozaki? Gently carrying her along the way. Oh! Though the prince lacked the courage to kiss the sleeping princess, he had at least saved her and was bringing her back to her castle. Despite what he had been through, he did not look like your typical hero. Still, in this story at least, he most certainly was. Chapter 12 read. And now we move on to A Tale of the Star. That was very fun. I wish I understood more about the... I wonder if there's another game to play that will like help me understand this. As far as I can understand, Witch on the Holy Night, in terms of the Type Moon series, is its own standalone thing. So for me to get more information, I don't know where I'd go, but I thought we would finish it this episode, but it seems like we've got more to go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did, and I will see you guys in the next video. So for now, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.